Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Alchemy with Sheeana Leigh. And today I am super elated and excited because I am sharing this platform and the voice of somebody who I deeply admire and think is a absolute powerhouse of a woman. Lotus Eros is joining me today. If you do not know her, you will know her by the end of today and you will want to be in her field. I met her in Bali last year at the
hmm
embodied Eros facilitator training. Was that what it was called? Just like
Eros Leaders Getaway.
it's a big title.
Close.
Close. I did not know her before this. And as soon as I kind of connected with her, looked at her, I could feel like the fire and passion in her as a woman. She's like really embodied, really in her body, and just has this like magnetic, intense aura. And as a person of great intensity and passion, you can usually tell straight away who carries that enormous energy and who feels safe in that energy. I want to say that too, because sometimes it can be a bit like erratic. Lotus is not that. She is delicious. She's divine. She's doing big work in the field of being a dominatrix, in the field of sexuality, in the field of feminine leadership and power, stepping into that, and currently navigating the dark feminine textures, which I love. We will be talking about all of this today and so much more. You're going to want to stay tuned with us. And I'm going to swing it over to Lotus. Thank you so much for being here today. I would love for you to come on, introduce yourself, and share what is alive for you today.
Mm, Thank you so much. That was a delicious intro. Wow.
I told you
Yes,
you'd love it.
I'd absolutely love that. It is like Leo season, right? It's really
Get it. Yeah.
so. Yes, as the beautiful Shiana mentioned, I am a professional dominatrix and I am going deep into the world of feminine embodiment lately, which is a bit of a shift from what I've been kind of journeying with over the last 3 years, which has more been around, I guess, sacred sexuality and tantra and somatics, the psychology of power. But right now, I'm just obsessing over feminine embodiment and going deep into that transformation from the good girl people pleaser into the bad bitch dominatrix, soft front, strong spine. Like that kind of energy has been really my own journey, especially going through this winter phase here in Australia. It's been a very introspective time. I've said no to all kind of collaborations that have come my way and events and just gone in. And that has been my big journey of going, okay, really excavating those inner still fragments of the witch wound, the people pleaser, the good girl showing up in all these little ways. And I was like, oh my God, I can't continue in this path with all of these behaviors and patterns still showing up. So that is what feels really alive to me right now.
Yum, yum. And I think, something I really love about you is that you really embody a lot of the textures and elements that I feel a lot of people, I wouldn't say lack, but they lose sight of. Like, so you're deep in like your shamanism, your earth, like
Yeah.
this sort of element as well. And I truly believe that people that are connected to like the earth and the pulse and the
Mm,
rhythm of life are
mm,
right on the pulse and precipice of what's to come next. And as you said, like moving into like feminine embodiment, like women's embodiment and power. And I feel that shift in the earth currently. So I
mm.
believe you're right on the pulse of like what's moving through the collective, where we're going, and also, yeah, what we're here to sort of bridge and move into, which is yum, because I've been
Mm,
journeying that as well lately. And I feel like, yeah, I can't be a people pleaser anymore. I can't,
mm.
hide behind these certain masks and defense mechanisms that are keeping me stuck in the same patterns and cycles. And we need more women to step up
Mm.
into leadership roles in the earth. That's what I feel. So, mhm.
I love that you mentioned the earth because I feel like that is a big differentiator in my work. And I know
Yeah,
that it's something that people often don't know about me because my socials, I'm in latex, I've got a sub or whatever, and I'm in a dungeon and it looks very, synthetic.
yes,
But I think having that connection to the earth and to the feminine is what is going to sustain us and support the new paradigm, which is, it's coming. The new earth is coming, and I'm holding that vision for us, that future. And I fully believe that the energetics of the feminine is going to be the thing that shifts it all for us.
Oh my God, yeah. I like even you hearing that just like expands my heart. Like I can feel it through my body. It just feels like a full fuck yes. And I mean, it's true. Like a lot of people wouldn't see you and think, you know, little earth witch or a little earth, you know, vixen, but it's true.
Mm,
And that is the element, that's something that I love about you and something that is it's full spectrum. Like you are an
mm,
embodiment of what you teach. And I think a lot of people that delve into, I'm going to sprinkle this in too, because it's a large piece of your work, like sprinkling into like kink spaces or sexuality spaces tend to really, especially in the BDSM sort of world and those sorts of things, embody one aspect of something. So
yes.
if you're, I'm a dom and I am only a dom, and or
Yeah.
I am sub and I'm only a sub, and it's actually like something about that I love about you is you are a yes, a fuck yes to the full spectrum of self and the full spectrum of expression within that
Mm,
realm and playing with it. And you know, and that's something I love. It's not like I'm just a dominatrix and I am just in the sexuality field. It's like, but also I'm like so reverent to the land and the elements and
mm,
deeply in touch and in tune with energy, which again, I want to say, I think is
mm,
like number one
mm.
key to being a dom
Yes.
and moving into sexuality work. It's all energy. So power.
Mm. So, so beautiful. You pretty much just like described my entire business model. So thank you very much.
Oh, perfect, perfect. We can extract that and you can use this.
Yeah,
Just put
100%.
clips of me everywhere. Clips of me telling you how you'd work or telling everyone how you work. Yum.
We'll get you in some latex. It'll be great.
Fuck yes.
But I really love that. And I think this is what got me to land on the name holistic feminine leadership. So I would have liked to have made it holistic femdom, but that's not meta friendly. So I can't use that. So I made it
Mm,
holistic feminine leadership. It's more broad, but the holistic part is basically describing my work in the tantric space, which is to come into wholeness. That's what the tantric journey is all about, is to integrate the light and the dark aspects of self, the Shiva Shakti, to come into a more whole way of being and celebrating all of life, the death, the hard parts, the shadow, and integrating that all in, eating it all up, using it as fuel for our personal power. And yeah, that's what I love about this new iteration of my work. I feel that when I first started, I was very much only dark feminine. And to be honest, not fully integrated in many ways. I think I saw a lot of aspects that were quite shadowy in my journey early on, and that's only natural, right? We're humans and we're always learning and growing. But now that I've been, in this space for over 3 years full time, it's just been this every single day coming back to these pieces and the changes that I've experienced. I just want everyone else to have that, which is why I've now decided I want to work more with women.
yeah. Beautiful. So I'm going to ask some couple of questions now
Go
because
for
I
it.
really, my own intrigue and curiosity, and I think many people will also want to hear what you have to say. So your own journey currently moving through. So you were moving, what work were you doing? And the transition to what you're showing up for now, I would love to
Mm,
ask what made that shift? What was the calling there? And then what was your own
mm,
personal journey through that to know that it's a fuck yes to bring
mm,
this forward?
mm. Wow. So
It's a small question.
yeah, doozy. It was a doozy. So there's many layers to this, but I'll try and keep it like succinct with a few different examples. So something that I 100% was experiencing the shadow of was the witch wound and the sisterhood wound. And I ingrained this so deeply that I didn't believe that I could ever work with women because I could never trust them, or that they would never like me, or that I would never, I wouldn't be able to relate to them because I was too in my masculine, and I was happy in that way of being. Like I was like, yeah, I'm just going to be really in my masculine all the time. And I'm like, that's me, whatever. And then as I started getting situations pop up with other women and like having these fallings out and things getting reflected back to me, it was like, okay, I really need to look at these pieces and come from a more holistic approach when it comes to my relationships with women, as well as my relationship with my clients. So I was doing tantric massage, working as a pro dom, and a lot of the clients that I was getting, it was like I was still the princess needing to be saved. It was like almost like the sugar baby archetype. You know, it's like they would come and they would save me and look after me and take me out on dates. And it was more them, even though I thought that I was a dom, it was really they were coming in and looking after me and this kind of thing. And I only had this realization. I was like, oh my God, like I am 100% just being a little princess right now.
Yes.
I know.
This is the best.
It was pretty interesting. And then as I started to set up boundaries, you know, and have expectations of how I wanted to be treated and standards, like I raised my standards. And then all of those kind of clients just fell away because they obviously couldn't meet this new version of me. And now, you know, I'm getting clients that are meeting me and paying my higher rates, meeting me with so much respect. And it's just wild because I guess the first version of me that started doing this work didn't think that even existed. So
yeah,
pretty wild.
very wild.
Pretty wild.
I think so many people are going to relate to everything you shared. I mean, not
Mm,
going through the professional Dom, but the
yes. In
standards, the
relationships.
boundaries, you
Yeah.
know, things falling away and people get highly attached to that then and like grip. Just like you actually have to let go completely so that the new can come towards you. I love this journey that you've been on actually, you know, and
Wild.
I know as a reflection too, and you know, people's perceptions, like on the outside world, you could be looking like and showing that you're showing up like this, like I am a professional dom, I'm being treated this way and held this way. But it's like we're all fucking human and we all have shadow aspects and they all get intertwined and seeped through us sometimes, no matter what level, I'm going to put that in air quotes, or which field of work you're in. Like it can still play a huge part in how we show up in our humanness, our expression and our work, which I think is the core takeaway here. Like it doesn't matter how together you look. In
No.
this field of work, especially online, like I really want to highlight that because we do work a
Yes.
lot online. Yeah, it's really important to be like, we're all going through our shit and we're all like meeting ourselves deeper and dying to ourselves again and again. Mm-hmm.
Again and again. Again and again. 2025 was my death year. And then even like this winter, I've just kept pulling the death tarot card. Like, yeah, it's been such a time of shedding. Wild. Super
So do
delicious
you
though.
feel like it is delicious? And I wish more people weren't afraid of like death and grief in the dark, like, because it's totally a portal for your like biggest gifts and medicine in this world and your strengths. A lot of the times we see shadows and darkness as weaknesses, but truly I think they're like our greatest gifts if we reclaim them and liberate them. They're the things that I believe are holding us most back. Just get in the dark.
It's so true. It's so true. And allowing the light to shine on those places. And, you know, it's incredible what they can show us. And otherwise it's just going to continue to run your life subconsciously. So you can choose to ignore them, but they're just going to keep coming back in the form of lessons and tests and crappy relationships. And
yeah, which is fine. You can do that a little bit. Sometimes there's like this little, like I talk about this little elemental, like chaos gremlin inside of me sometimes where
I love that.
do you know this? Do you know the
Love the chaos
gremlin?
gremlin. It's so good though.
Fucking love it. And like the thing is, like if I hired it away before I consciously knew about the chaos gremlin, it would be starving for chaos and really creating that in very toxic and unhealthy ways to the like. But as soon as I was like, actually, and like brought it in closer to me, I was like, no, it's not a piece of me that is not viable. Like this is a part of me as a whole person. Like it's not a element that I have to shun or shine away on. And I brought it closer to me and I'm like, hey, little chaos gremlin. And now I consciously know when it needs to be fed or when it's hungry. And I will consciously, and don't get me wrong, like I will do chaos, but I will know that it's satiating a piece and part of me that makes me whole. And I'm not like, doing crazy things. And I think that's really important because so many people, I believe, have that little element inside themselves where they're like, no. And it's like, bring it close, trust it, let it, allow it, satiate it. Yum.
I mean, it's one of the hardest things to do, like, I think, in life is to accept those parts of ourselves that we don't like or are disgusted by. Like, shadow work is, it's hard. And it's interesting because my work is pretty much in the shadows. So it will trigger people. Just my existence triggers people because I represent a part of themselves that they maybe don't like or have never fully embodied. And it's funny. I kind of sometimes I'm like, is this just my purpose in this life is to trigger people?
Yes. Yes, it is. Coming.
Well, that's the dark feminine. She's the most shamed and suppressed. So of course, if you've embodied it, it's going to stir up some shit in both men and women.
Yeah. And I love, I feel this so deeply. I was like, I trigger the fuck out of a lot of people. And that is something I used to turn against myself about and think that there was something wrong with me, or I would go into a bit of a shame spiral or really collapse and project and reflect onto myself, I would say, and make it wrong or bad. But there is nothing wrong or bad at you just fully inhabiting yourself and that letting it fall where it may, because in truth, that will trigger and activate people and their projections will sometimes land on you. And it's so true. I could see how you're very triggering for people. I love it. I'm like, you're activate to me. I'm like, I'm activating it in a good way. And I think that I'm like, yes, get it, Lotus. Like, fuck. And I think that has a lot to say about how much embodiment and work you've done on yourself. But I also want to circle back around because you've gone through to this transition and we've kind of been landing on the notes anyway of your work changing and transitioning more into feminine embodiment and holistic feminine leadership. Was there something there that really like triggered this for you? Like one trigger, like journey change? Because there's a few elements of work you're currently transitioning into changing. So I'd love to hear more about that too. And I'm sure everyone would too.
Absolutely. So it actually happened. I had a vision just as I was about to fall asleep. I often get visions in that kind of, theta brainwave state, get all these ideas and things come through. And I had this vision of me driving my car that I hadn't yet bought down to Tasmania and going on this big like soul journey. And then this was last year and at the start of last year. So the start of 2025, what ended up happening is I ended up going to Europe. And I did go on a little bit of a road trip, but then most of my traveling was over in Europe. And I guess having that separation from working for quite a while, having that separation from also running events, I was doing one event a month, which was a lot. Like I was doing a conscious party and then a temple night. So a conscious party and then a temple night. And the conscious party was like the intro to the temple night. And it was amazing. It was super expansive and incredible. But then to have that separation, it was just like, okay, I can't keep going as this version of myself. I can't keep creating from this place. It doesn't feel like I don't feel filled up anymore by my work. I actually feel really depleted. And I was starting to feel just really exhausted from the whole thing. And it felt like I was trying to prove something or like to kind of show that I was good enough. And I noticed that there was some old conditioning. And then that's why this last year has been, okay, separating from needing to prove that I'm anything other than myself and just being able to knowing that I'm loved, whole, worthy and complete as I am. And it's been perfectly timed with my mistress journey as well, and stepping into the art of being a dominatrix is very linked to that. So I guess coinciding with this inner journey of self-worth has been the reflection that I've had through my work, which has been so beautiful, being able to practice feminine embodiment, archetypal work, all of these rituals, magic, sex magic, all of these things that I want to do, I can practice in my work. And it's just been a wild experience. So the timing of this podcast, this is actually the first time that I've spoken on a podcast for quite some time. So
Yes.
this will be kind of my coming out. This is the first thing that I've done. I haven't released any events, any trainings thing since, I don't even know when, at the start of 2025. I can't even believe it's been a year and a half. It's crazy how fast that time has gone.
Well, I feel
Yeah.
fucking honored that you're here, showing up and being like, hey, this is me. I'm coming out.
Happening.
I am
Yes.
here. I think this is perfect because, like, I want to ask you another question, but it's interesting because I want to really highlight, if anyone's listening and really relating to this, like, one, the thread of desire, following your impulse, your visions is paramount as a woman. Like,
Mm,
1,000%, if that is like the message, it's like, listen to your intuition, your body, your visions.
mm,
I do believe that we are very prophetic, oracular beings as women, but that is our natural wisdom as womb bearers, basically. And I truly believe that this is threading into how we're moving into the world, like this new world that we're sort of seeding
mm-hmm,
and sowing. Listen to yourself, listen to your visions, and absolutely surrender to the death and the pause. Like,
mm,
because without the death and the pause and the release, you really can't, if you're too full of all your old shit, whether it is
mm,
conditioning, stories, beliefs, all your old work, all your old clients, all your old, like, you are never ever going to be able to allow yourself to be filled back up again. Like, from newness, right? Like, you will never
mm,
allow your vessel to truly open up and create, which I fucking love as a woman. Like, I think it's so yum that we get this power as a woman to move with this way. And also, on a side note, and I want to get your take on this, especially as a professional, like, dominatrix, like, people think of, I feel like we're figuring out women in power in this new way for probably the first time in, like, thousands and thousands of years, right? So I feel that women are having a hard time with stepping up into leadership, into power, and also not knowing how that looks or the energy behind it. And I don't believe it's like men's power or like, it's very different tone and texture, right? Again, and it's not even about being man or woman or feminine and masculine, although yes, it is that as well. Like, it's a yes and paradox.
mm,
But a lot of them don't actually feel like, and then to put that with like being a dom or being a dominatrix and being that energetics behind that too. They don't see them often together in a way. They think of like a female or a dominatrix as quite masculine. Is that, I'm trying to go around this a very convoluted way. There's probably not dropping in, but I want to speak on being a female dom, the
mm-hmm,
energetics behind that, and also being a woman or in a leadership role and the embodiment of that and how that is misconstrued with the polarity world and masculine feminine energetics. I know that's a huge
mm.
topic, but I kind of want to thread that together. He just kicked my bottle. Yeah, like, whoa, that's huge. Are people going to wrap their head around that? Think it's important because, yeah, I think people misinterpret what it means to be a woman in power, a woman in her
Mm,
dominatrix. And I just want to have a conversation about it, really,
mm,
because I don't think we're talking about it enough. Because it's like, oh,
mm,
we're supposed to be soft, we're supposed to be submissive in the polarity world. You know, you know, just these textures that I think are really hindering us from stepping into a new way of leading.
100%. Yes,
Yeah,
I think that
we
there
got there.
is, yeah, we got there. We got to the juice.
It's fucking
Yeah, I
huge.
think
It's a
that
huge
there's
topic.
fear. There's a lot of fear there, I think, for women, in stepping into that leadership, and especially as a dominatrix. Like, that is like terrifying. And I think there's a myth that, the dom or the female leader has to be cruel or strict or evil. I mean, when you look at our conditioning from childhood, the evil person was always a woman, and if they were older or a villain, they were often this crazy evil woman. Like, you think about Ursula from The Little Mermaid, and there's like the old evil witches and things, and then the princesses were punished for taking up too much space or wanting too much when you think about Snow White. So I think in our subconscious, there's so many layers to this, and then there's, again, the fear from the polarity world of, I'm supposed to be soft and feminine so he can step into his leadership. And there's a dance with all of this. Like, there's a time to step up and take control. And there's the times when I am like, no, I want to step back and have you show me what you can do in this space. So I think when it comes to the kink world and like DNS dynamics, obviously there's a clear dynamic and it's a set container with agreements. A relationship, it needs to have, I believe, all of the textures of all of it, of each side. Each person needs to embody both light and dark, feminine. And maybe the relationship is that the male body is the one that's more submissive, and that's their polarity. And the woman is more in her like masculine leadership type quality. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's all over TikTok at the moment. They're talking about like this kind of black cat, black cat energy. Yeah.
We're in a fucking strange time. We're seeing
It
a
is.
lot of weird dynamics and things. Like,
Yeah.
we're going through a massive like decentering men era. Like, everyone's
Yes.
like, fuck men, and I don't condone the fuck men thing. But it's so multi-layered how we're really
Mm,
getting into the nooks and crannies of so many. And I feel like the polarity world even has collapsed. Remember a couple of years ago, it was really huge, like the trad,
the trad
men,
wife.
the trad wife
Yeah.
era, and
Yep.
women have to be submissive. And truly, I feel like there are things constantly layered on top of us as women specifically, right? Again, then that's not even got like that we have to sift through. Like you said, the, conditioning of like, I have to be submissive. I have to be nice. I have to be
Mm,
palatable. I have to be, and that's just as a woman. That's not even putting on the other hats of being a mother or being a girlfriend or a partner or a
mm,
wife, or we just have to wear so much contorted energetics around every element that we
mm,
step into. Right. And I think that that's what we're seeing crumble down. It's like, well, if you're this element, you have to be like this. And if you work in this field, you have to be like this. And
mm.
and I
Yeah.
feel like women are coming along at the currently and just like blurring those lines and mixing it all together,
Mhm.
which can look like chaos, because it's like, no, fuck that. I don't want to be this and not this. I don't want to be a dominatrix and not in love with
Mm.
the earth and relational to the earth. I don't want to be like me, like I'm a little primal wild woman, and I don't want to not show up in other elements. And I think that women are just
Mm.
like, that's why we're seeing so many women just like burn everything down currently and be like, no, I will be that villain, because you're only a villain in other people's eyes when they cannot control you or put you into a box. Right? When you start
Mm.
to act outside of that, that's when you're villainized. Right?
Mhm.
And I love that you brought in the Disney princess like era of the hag and the old
Mm.
woman,
Yeah.
because the hag to me is like the most powerful woman, isn't it?
The medicine woman, the elder.
How did we demonize her and villainize her? And it's all to keep women out of their own power, truly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I love about this work. And I think you're right. We have got our finger on the pulse in this right now and being able to lead the way, because so many women are hungry for this information and ways to step into it. And I think that's the beautiful thing about both of our work and the work that I'm really focusing on is around the actual embodiment part. It's okay, cool. We know that we don't want to be this and we don't want to be that. I want to embody more of this. I want to have better boundaries, but it's like, okay, well, how do I actually do that? How do I actually, like, it seems so out of reach. I feel it. I mean, it did for me even in the beginning. I was like, how do I even fathom, you know, stepping out of this lens of being the good girl? I've always been nice. That's what I'm, a nice person. I'm a good girl. I do the right thing. You know, I keep people happy. And to imagine a world where I could, you know, speak up and make ripples, you know, and it was really hard at the beginning, but I think these like kind of archetypal energies that you've spoken about, you know, the wild woman, we kind of mentioned like the queen energy, the dominatrix, you know, which I think is a combination of a bunch of different archetypes, which I
Yeah.
love.
It's like silent snap, clicking the fingers. Yes, yes, yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
So I'm curious with this, and I think a lot of women will, myself included. I sometimes think of things like that's so huge. How am I going to step into
Mm-hmm.
this? What's the what do you feel like is the first? Let's break it down a bit. What's the first step of moving into embodiment of your power, your full range self, you in leadership? And what do you think is the deepest woundings that you see that prohibits people from doing that? Women
Mm-hmm.
specifically.
I feel like the first step is creating safety in the body. So it all starts with how safe you feel, because you can't go out and take on the world, you know, and do on these things, speak out, you know, take a new opportunity, speak on a podcast, get on stage if your nervous system isn't ready to hold that. Otherwise, you can go into burnout and collapse, which is what happened to me at the beginning. I kind of pushed past beyond my own capacity, but, you know, we have to always learn these ways. And I would say that the first step is emotional and kind of somatic regulation. And then what was the second question that you asked?
So obviously when we're stepping into this, yeah, like what is the thing that prohibits people the most? Like whether it be shadow
Yeah,
aspects or wounding.
biggest
And
wounds.
yeah,
I feel like it is this good girl. It's not wanting like the people pleaser. And I know that that's kind of also, I feel like it's kind of the buzz word at the moment, I feel. I
everyone's
feel like
feeling
it's
it. Yeah.
everyone's feeling it. And I mean, that makes sense, right? It's the biggest wound. So, of course, it's going to be the thing that we are seeing a lot of, you know, podcasts about it, trainings, you know, classes, workshops, even in like the Dom world. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about moving from good girl or the nice girl into being a dominatrix or being into the, you know, a feminine leader. So, yeah, I think that's why again, that's related to nervous system as well.
Exactly. And I want something that's just sort of coming through me now that I probably haven't ever said in regards to this conditioning per se is I really want to highlight it's not just good girl as in I'm a good girl and I'm kind and I'm nice. I believe the thread of the good girl is seeped through every box and aspect that we put ourselves into, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you are I'm going to give some examples because like I'm just, if you're a good wife, how do you show up? How does that look? Do you have like dinner ready? Do you clean the house? Like what is a good wife, right? And I'm putting this in air quote. And being a good daughter, right? To me, like what does a good daughter do? She listens to what her parents say. She does what they want her to do instead of what she wants to do. She puts them above herself. If you're a good dominatrix, even what does a good dominatrix do? Like, they show up a certain way. And I think that that's something
Mm-hmm.
we miss. It's like you are showing up in a way that is not in integrity with truth and your actual organic expression. You are showing up in a way that you perceive is going to be perceived as good by other
Mm-hmm.
people in whatever element or field that you're in.
Yes.
Right? And I
Yeah.
think that that's a thread that a lot of women miss because they think, oh, well, I'm not a people pleaser to everybody, or I'm not just kind and nice to waiters and bartenders and people. They have, again, that's like, it's a cracking open of that ego and dissolution of like, if you're showing up in a way that is not putting yourself, your truth, your body first, then you are authentically out of alignment. Like you are essentially out of alignment. I mean, like you're showing up in this aspect of being perceived, and that is all ego. We are seeing a great ego collapse collectively, I feel. So of course this is being highlighted within us. Like, who the fuck am I? And how am I going to show up in integrity with that? You know,
Mm.
because you're just abandoning yourself and betraying yourself by constantly posturing yourself to appease others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like everything that you just said has described my personal journey over the last kind of year and a half.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to talk about these things, because it's like, okay, I don't want to be teaching things that I haven't personally embodied or haven't personally journeyed through. And it's been so interesting to see these different things pop up where it's like, yeah, I'm not people pleasing anymore. Like in the bedroom, I'm asking for what I want and I'm not going along with things. So I was like, oh, I'm healed. And then, there would be instances that would pop up, especially with family. They're the ultimate spiritual gurus. And next minute I'm going along with things. I'm saying things that I don't agree, or I'm not speaking up when something is really out of integrity. So always a work in progress with that one. But, it's been just interesting to notice, oh, okay, wow, I thought that I'd moved through that, or I thought that I felt safe enough to be able to express myself in that way. And I've noticed that a lot with the people around me and the people that I've worked with is, all right, how can we start to actually be aware? Because I feel like it's insidious, the ways that it shows up. And often it won't be until afterwards that, you'll pick up, oh shit, there it is
Yes.
again.
Yes, it's true. It is insidious. Sometimes it's like a after the fact thing. You
Yeah.
don't realize that you've been collapsing in a relationship or a dynamic until after the fact. And how would you feel like, that's another great question. How would you feel like, we're just dissecting it all today. How can we, and maybe it ties back into creating safety and nervous system regulation and somatic presence in the body to be able to keep yourself in tune with being to the present moment and feeling how it's like actually affecting you rather than looking back, because I think it kind of becomes like a wound that you have to heal after the fact. And then
Mm,
you have to attend to yourself and go, oh, fuck, I betrayed myself there, or I put
yeah.
them above myself and I didn't speak up for myself. And so you feel like you're kind of tending to your own self-betrayal and your own self-abandonment on top of the
Mm.
fact that the actual thing that you're, so how would we bridge that gap between what's happening and like the wounding of it?
Well, I feel like that is the ultimate, like ninja level personal development, is to catch these things in the moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like it comes down to knowing ourselves, knowing what our level of homeostasis is. So, especially people that are a little bit neurospicy like myself, I have a problem with regulation. So to me, my level of regulation, quote unquote, is like pretty chaotic and like high energy and intense and this and that. So then to be able to catch, oh shit, you know, it has been a work in progress in being able to actually catch that. But now that I know what my baseline is, I feel like I'm a lot more aware of, okay, I notice something's like off, something a little bit off about this dynamic or this thing, or I'm noticing a thought or a feeling, and then I can more quickly act on it.
Yes. Yes. It's hard for us neurospicy people.
Mm,
Hard to catch in the moment, especially because our nervous systems and how we're wired runs a little bit different and how our brain is kind of wired. But knowing your baseline is all encompassing in all different areas and realms. Like, and I think that's why it's so important. That's so important why a lot of people, and I don't know if you see this too in your field of work, like seems to be like sexuality and sensuality is like the last place that people will go. But I actually
mm,
feel like it's one of the most imperative, like important places and pieces to go
mm,
because that is like your full spectrum energetic self. And it's also the energy of how we were first born into this life.
Mm-hmm.
Like the elements of our essence. And people are so afraid to go there and so afraid to explore it. But in truth, I don't feel like I was able to really feel my body, my present moment, my baseline or homeostasis until I journeyed through, yeah, like kink, sexuality, sensuality, that field within myself. I feel like floating around down
Mm-hmm.
here. And because I feel like it's a place that we carry a big piece of shame, usually,
Yes.
and family conditioning. So I'd love to hear a bit more on that as well, because you are
Mm.
huge in this field. Hmm.
Yeah. Sexuality. I mean, if you want to soccer punch and take yourself on some kind of like upward trajectory of personal development and growth, go to a sexuality event or go and see a sex worker, because they will illuminate, or you will have your direct shadow right in front of you. That is like the quickest way to heal, is to do the start with the sexuality, because you're right. I think people will do it last. And if you have the nervous system capacity to be with the big sensations, then I always say to people, go to a temple night, go and see a mistress, go and get a tantric massage, because obviously it is going to be a little bit unsettling. So I think it is better for people who have done a little bit of introspection, a little bit of work, because like you said, it's so intense. It's literally the energy in which we were born from. It's our orgasmic life force is the energy that is creative, creative life force energy. It's the strongest energy in the world. So it's going to bring up your stuff.
Yes, it is. Fuck yes, it is. You actually have an event coming up. I would love for you to share.
Yes, I
You've got
do.
exhibition coming up. You are a co-host, and I've always wanted to go. I actually, shame on me, I've never been yet. I'm always on a different side of the country or gallivanting around. But I would love for you to invite people into your world, into your realms. And because I know it can be a little bit daunting, like we've just spoken about, if you haven't stepped inside a temple,
Mm-hmm.
exhibitions and spaces where people are really embodying their eros and their erotic aliveness, it can be daunting. So yeah, how do people enter that space if they're a little bit conscientious or haven't done so before?
I think Sexhibition is probably one of the best entry level events to go to. So it's at the Melbourne Convention Centre. So it's a massive event. It's not like an intimate sexual like temple night or something like that. So you can go watch a talk, go to some of the workshops, and kind of have these little micro experiences. The slots are only half an hour. So you can literally just, dip your toe in, even just watch from the outside. So because it's very loud and intense environment, like it's really easy to just kind of be a fly on the wall for a lot of things. There's experts there, sexologists, there's porn stars, there's dominatrixes, people who are in the tantra field, somatic sex coaches, performers, strippers, all the things. So if there's a curiosity there for any of these kind of realms, or you just have no idea where to start, it's such a good place to go to, because you can go and, buy some new sex toys, go and speak to some of the stall holders, and everyone that's there works in the industry. So they would love nothing more than to answer questions and connect with you and share, about their own experiences. So I'll be co-hosting the sex education stage, which will be so much fun, and doing my own talks on kink. So I'll be doing Kink 101 over the weekend, as well as opening the main stage each day, doing a kinky transmission. So that'll be fun.
Yum.
Yes,
Yum. Your
I'm
work is
excited.
incredible. I love seeing you online. I was like, when you disappeared for a bit, I was like, where the fuck is she?
I also lost my Instagram. So I was dealing with, that was a big part of the death portal that I was in. So I also lost my account, lost my visibility and my persona online. So that
Isn't
went
that
with the
just
whole thing.
fucked?
Yeah, so
But
fucked.
it's something that, we struggle with in our, like I'm very PG online, and this is why I
Mm,
have this space so that we can just openly talk
talk.
and use our voices, because I've had shadow bans, shutdowns, this, that, and the other. And I don't even have a huge following. It's just, and it really, it's fiery, burning passion in my
Mm,
soul that people who are showing up consciously to actually look into this, to educate, to bring awareness to, that are actually helping illuminate and not, exasperate shame and shut down. They're the ones that
Mm.
always seem to be attacked and under
I
the
know.
scrutiny, you know?
It's
It's
so
like,
true.
it's
Yeah,
fucked. It's
it
actually
is.
fucked.
It's
And
really
it's,
hard because I can't share, like, if I want to share explicit photos or imagery, then I can't write anything that's like educational. It's like I
no,
can choose kind of one or the other. I can have more, like, I guess, not explicit content, but things that look erotic, but I can't have any words on it. So it's really, and then I can't use, like, even if you change the letters and the numbers, like I was doing,
doesn't
they pick
matter.
up on that now. So you can't do that either. So you actually have to use, I've been using consensual power dynamics instead of
Oh, I
kink.
love. I love, actually. That's kind of nice.
So we
They'll
just
pick up
find
on
new
that too.
ways.
They'll put it to eventually.
Yeah.
We've come to like a natural
Mm.
lull in the pod. But before we disappear, I just want to know if there's any, like, if you feel into your body, any last like words of wisdom, any other big things or elements that you feel like you want to touch on and speak about and give voice to before we close.
I guess the only last pieces that I want to say, that if you are listening to this podcast, the time is now to take ownership over these parts of ourselves, because no one is going to do the work for us. And I think attached to the good girl is also the victim, is that damsel in distress who's waiting for someone to come and save her. And guess what? No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save the earth. And as dismal as that sounds, it's the truth. And I think the quicker that we can step into our own authority and sovereignty over our being, the quicker that we can start to accelerate and create the vision that we all are holding in our hearts. I know we are. It's just how to get there. And I believe in you. We're all doing it. If it's not working with me, it's working with Sheeana, it's working with, Elodie, or there's so many women in this space that are doing amazing things. And it's just finding someone that you are drawn to and taking that step to work with someone who inspires you, to lead you along the way, because we're not meant to do this alone. We're meant to do it in community, and having a mentor or being inside a container is one of the best ways to accelerate that growth and have the support. So thank you so much for having me.
My
This has
God,
been beautiful.
this has been so good. Thank you so much for giving me the honor of being in a space with you while you navigate your own little rebirthing space into
Thank
this field
you.
of work. Like, I
It's
actually
a
am really
very
honored.
vulnerable podcast, actually. I really shared some deep parts of myself, but
How
that's
are you
how I like to
feeling?
roll. I have
Yeah.
a little bit of a vulnerability hangover. I feel like I love being able to share the trueness of what's on my heart, because I know that it's makes me more authentic and things, and it just also just bubbles out of me, and then I'm like, fuck, could I have said that? But there it is. I think I'm not a completed version of self. I'm coming out of this deep primordial soup of the dark, and it's been fucking hard, honestly, this last year and a half. So thank you, babe. It's been a really beautiful chat.
Really emotional. Actually, I'm like really teary right now hearing you, because it's like, I feel, well, absolutely honored to be here and holding you in this space and us to be here together, and how much you shared your raw heart and vulnerability. Like, I think it is actually a superpower. And I get it, because I live that way too. I get it. I live that way too, but I always get those like tendrils of vulnerability hangover.
Mm,
I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. Or people can really see me now fully in this bit.
mm,
And like, I just want to say fuck yes to that, because even that to me is like little elements of like holding yourself back, or,
exactly.
being worried about how people are going to perceive you. Like, if
Yes,
people know the truth of my bleeding heart, then, people are not going to love me, respect me, choose me. And that is fucking bullshit. That I believe,
exactly.
because like, I'm like, no, I fucking love you more than now. Like, I think you're more incredible. I think you're a more fierce dominatrix. I think you're the best person to work with because of this, not in spite of this. You know, like
Mm,
that's what I want women to walk away with. Like these perceptions, these wounds, these elements, they're not things that hinder us. They're the things that will actually really traject us if we show tenderness to them and show
yeah.
like that's fucking bullshit. Everything that we've seen in the past about it's bullshit and we're seeing it all collapse. So, and we are here doing this together, which I really want to highlight that we actually can't do this alone. Like it's so apparent to me stepping into this next era of evolution as a woman that we really do need each other. We really do need
Mm,
to be collaborating. We really need to be
yes.
seeing each other in each other's powers and vulnerabilities instead of masks and woundings. That is how we're going to really activate this deeply. Like, and you're right. Like, have authority. Like, we can't just floppy around anymore and be like,
Mm,
I'm going to
yeah.
manifest this with my energy. It's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna
Mm,
grab it with your whole fucking chest? Are you gonna bring it
mm,
in? And how are you going to then bring this through? Like, how's you and your pussy gonna walk through into this earth and what are you gonna do with it? Because yeah, the time for flopping over and expecting things to just kind of be either given to us is gone. Like
mm,
it's gone now. Like it served its time. Now we need to do something with it.
mhm. Mic drop.
It's true, and I think it's like, and I think that this is like your dark night of the soul, or even whatever your
Yeah.
cocoon era, and
Yeah.
even mine, babe. Like I talk so openly on this podcast about some shit that I'm like sometimes I'm quite embarrassed about or shame filled, and I'm just like, here it is. Like I'm not impartial to having horrible things happen to me or things that are a bit sticky that I'm navigating. And that doesn't make me fucking shit at my work. That makes me incredible at my work because you become an
Mm,
embodiment of what you're actually bringing
mm,
through. I wish more people knew
100%.
that. Yeah.
And this is what we need more of. We need authentic, embodied leaders who show the things that they're struggling with and being able to name what's actually alive in the moment, because especially in the dom and the kink world, being like you said at the start, you were like, I'm a dom. There's a lot of that. And
I'm a
it's
dog.
bullshit. It's bullshit. I can't handle
Yeah.
it because it's a facade of trying to prove that worthiness piece. And I guess that probably triggers me a bit because I know that it lives in me. That's the piece that I've been moving through myself, is actually showing that soft, vulnerable heart. That is the medicine that the world needs. It's a harsh world out there, and I think to lead with that tenderness and that vulnerability is
And like
real
that's
power.
like medicine coming through. Like from a professional dom, female professional dom talking about tenderness and heart still, it just crushes through so many like
Mm,
conditioning that we see, right? And projections. Like I'm a big fuck yes to that. And I personally believe, and this is just my personal belief, that, the best dominatrixes are usually switches. And because they know
mm,
the elements and energy of both, because they have a felt sensual embodiment of what it is and they're embodied in it. Like it's what it is.
exactly.
Like
100%.
you know what it's like to
Yeah.
be a dom, you know what it's like to be a switch, you know and that comes into refinement and attunement. Attunement is something I see so missing in the world as a whole, not just like sexuality spaces and kink spaces, but actual attunement. And again, I want to highlight this comes back to your own embodiment, your own safety embody, your own nervous system, and how deeply intimate you can be with the present moment.
Mm.
And then
Like
that's how
what's actually here? Like
yeah.
what's actually there? Attunement is one of the first things I teach to my students, is attuning to self, attuning to others, especially in temple spaces, and being able to switch. And I always, well, if I do like a dom training, I'll say, all right, so you know that we're all going to be being subs today. And some of them are like, oh,
Hate it.
yeah. It's like, I thought I was here to learn how to be a dom, but it's like, yes, but you can't lead if you can't follow. You know, you need to be able to drop into that state of surrender if you're going to be a good leader. Like, come on, let's go. Let's see how well you can receive. Can you be in your soft receivership and trust that your partner has got you? Because a lot of women, especially doms, don't have that trust. This is why that they go into that path of taking over, being in control. It's because they've had that trust broken. So full respect for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a whole episode on like conscious and therapeutic kink and how like the threads, it's my tea. I love it. I love it. How the threads of our woundings actually perpetuate like how we show up sexually, and then like reclaiming those elements are our greatest liberation. So especially in
Mm,
regards to like power, because it is power, right?
mm,
Like, you know, as women who've been assaulted or abused, we're afraid of power and, you know, can tend to like reclaiming that and going into a more, it's
mm,
wild things that you can navigate through this field. And
mm-hmm.
I love it because it is our greatest way to reclaim and liberate. Again, like I said, fucking yum.
It's delicious. I know. I feel like we didn't even touch on that, but that is the work that I do mostly with men,
Yeah.
is the transformational kink stuff, taking them through journeys that represent things that they can't or struggle to embody in their day-to-day life, and then transmuting that and then taking it back out into the world, which I love, like archetypal role play and doing like shibari surrender sessions. And a lot of the time these men are like super in control of everything, and then they they just need this chance to be able to drop into their feminine. They want to be like sissified and turned into a little sissy bitch for an
Yeah.
hour. It's just like if they swing really far one way, then it's like they need to come into equilibrium. So
Yes.
it's just love it.
It's fucking like but it's so true. Like if you're so hardwired to one aspect, energetic aspect or element of self. And this is not just sexuality, like sexual based. This is wholeness, life,
Totally.
living space. You will be like anything that is stagnant and stiff breeds disease. And and movement is medicine. Like, you know, like water. Like it is literally like
Mm,
water. So being
mm,
able to be malleable and flow in different energetic aspects or like opposite polarity, like on the opposite ends of the
mm,
spectrum is actually needed for our whole human spectrum and self. Because I believe that if we're not doing that, it does seep out in those more toxic or hard ways that can actually
mhm,
create, yeah, like dynamics that we're seeing in the world today, like hardened control aspects and
mhm,
like distorted energetic, yeah, distortion. It's just
mm.
distorted.
Yeah,
It's like rigid,
totally.
distorted things. Like it's wholeness, and that's like what you preach. That's
Mm.
your work, which I love, love, love.
That holistic feminine leadership, holistic femdom. And I love that I've made it holistic because it basically just means that it includes everything. And for
Hey,
My Manny Gen self is perfect because it is about all of the facets of self and how can we move into wholeness. And I love that there's no limit to where the exploration with that can go, from, health and wellness to exploring these, unconscious roles or, leaky power that's playing out, or like the wounded masculine, really, isn't it? That dominating power over rather than power from within. Those kinds of things. I just love kind of bringing people back into alignment through sexuality. How
yeah,
good.
the best. It can be fun. It can be playful. It can be joyous.
Yeah.
Okay. I love your work. I am looking forward to in the future working with you in some capacity. I've already said this. I already know it.
Yeah.
Funny, interestingly enough, like last night I actually dreamt about you and me. And I'm like, oh, my body's already podcasting with her in the ethers or
I
some
love
shit.
that. I love that. Done. It's happening. It's already happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Create some magic.
So I would love for you to invite people into the ways they can currently work with you, what avenues you've got open, especially
Mhm.
with this new work and seeding that.
Mm.
Yeah, take her away. Take us. How can people meet you? Mhm.
I love this. Thank you. So currently it's just in a one-on-one capacity. I am going to be launching in the next couple of weeks a whole bunch of things. So stay tuned. This is going to be something. The best way to find me will just be on my Instagram. So the Temple of Lotus, my new handle, shifted from Lotus Erotica, which was kind of the purely sexual space, to the Temple of Lotus to really encompass this more holistic view of sexuality and life. So those will be the main things. They've got Sexhibition coming up, Taste of Love Tantra Festival. I'm also speaking at a retreat this weekend called Magnetic Woman. I'm doing a 3-hour dark feminine activation workshop, which will be amazing. But yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be some secret little things. I don't want to say too much, but stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. I really do believe that you are making a huge impact in the world. And we're only just seeing the beginning of you, to be quite honest. I
Mhm.
feel that, I see that for you and your work. And I truly believe that you are one of the next like feminine leaders bridging this new way of being into the world. So I really wanted to thank you for being
Mhm.
here and sharing your voice and your heart and your experiences, your personal experiences with me and everyone listening. It's truly been an honor. And I'm just like, yeah, love journeying beside you and walking beside you in this way.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much for having me. Yay.
And that is all, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. Again, if you loved this show, share it, like it, comment, all of those juicy things. And we would love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out and connect with us deeper on what really landed, what you took away, how this ignited you. And see you next time.
Mwah.